We'll call our May 17th meeting of the Cookeville City Council to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Woodford. Councilman Henry.
Here.
Mayor Shelton.
Here.
Vice Mayor Epps.
Here.
Councilman Womack.
Here.
4 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite those that wish to do so to stand for the invocation given tonight by Scott McKinney, pastor of First Baptist Church here in Cookeville, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag.
Pray with me, please. Father God, what an amazing day it is that you've given us. Thank you, Lord, for your love, for your grace, and the mercy that's been shown to us. And Lord, thank you for this city, and thank you for the privilege we have to live here. Thank you for the leaders that we have in place. And God, I just thank you for their love for you and the privilege to be able to come and pray tonight. You're an amazing God, and Lord, we look to you for many things in our life. And one thing tonight we need, and we need it every day of our life, we need your wisdom. And so, God, I pray for our city leaders that you would give them wisdom to understand your direction and know what's best for them, and that we'd make all the right steps as a city and as a county government and as a state government and a nation. God, we'd make the right steps. I know there's been some bad steps in the past. God, we've gone the wrong way, but Lord, we pray that you would lead us into the future to accomplish your will and your purpose. Give us great insight and vision. Lord, I thank you for all those that serve this community, for the first responders, and Lord, thank you for the job they do. And Lord, there's so many people that do so many things, and I'm so grateful, God, to be in this great community. Have your will and your way in our lives, and bless us, we pray and ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Scott. Consider approval of agenda as presented. Are there any changes or corrections?
Mayor, we have no changes to the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
4A, consider appointment to the Public Building Authority. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members received a letter from the Public Building Authority, and they're respectfully requesting that you consider two reappointments to the board. Jim Martin would be, if reappointed, would be serving his 4th term on the board, and Jeff Jones, if reappointed, would be serving, I believe, his 2nd term. And also, they're asking you to consider filling the unexpired term of Mr. Joe Albright after he passed away. They're asking you to consider appointing his wife Connie to the board as well, and that would be for that unexpired term. But I would ask you to consider that request.
Very good. Is there a motion to confirm the 3 recommendations?
So moved.
Motion and second. Any discussion or any other nominations? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. Under old business, 5A, consider approval of minutes of council meeting held on May 3rd, 2018. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
5B, consider on second and final reading ordinance 0180406, amendments to the official street map. Mr. Mills.
Mayor and council members, as stated at first reading, this ordinance amends our official street map. The official street map depicts the streets for which we're responsible for maintenance and also indicates the official street names. We've had no calls or comments since first reading.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. Consider on second and final reading ordinance 0180511, amending the Cookeville Municipal Code, Title 8, Chapter 3, relative to alcohol. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, again, this is second reading on this particular amendment to the municipal code related to alcohol. There's been no calls or comments, no changes to it since first reading, and I would recommend your approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. Under new business, 7A, hold a public hearing and consider on first reading ordinance 0180512, amending the budgets of the general, state street aid, sanitation, drug, animal control, economic development, general obligation debt service, and general improvement bond funds of the city of Cookeville for fiscal year ended June 30, 2018. Ms. Immel.
Mayor and council members, this ordinance amends 9 of our 16 funds for the current fiscal year. I have made a few changes since our work session on Monday, but I'll point those out as we go through this. And we will jump right into the general fund. This ordinance increases the budgeted revenue in the general fund by $569,373. Building permits, $100,000. Interest earnings, $15,000. FEMA reimbursement, $288,000. That relates to the storms last Memorial Day. Insurance recoveries, $20,000, and those last 4 items are grant-related revenues. Increase in the expenditures in the general fund. This ordinance will increase at $484,073. One change since Monday is in the police department building repairs. This evening, you're going to consider an emergency repair to replace an HVAC unit at the police department, so that covers that. Decreased salaries and wages in the fire department, $20,000. Workers' comp claims in the fire department, $50,000, and capital in the fire department, $20,000. CPAC roof repairs and leisure services, $14,200. That relates to the storms last spring. CPAC carpet repairs, $3,500. Leisure services liability claims, $80,000. Codes department capital, $10,000. Public Works Department, brush grinding capital, $135,000. Again, that's storm-related, and that's what the FEMA reimbursement covers some of that. Repairs and maintenance in Public Works, $25,000. And those last four items are the offsetting grant expenditures for those grant revenues that we have. Next fund we are amending is State Street Aid. Increase in revenue, $208,771, and an increase in budgeted expenditures of $296,500. The biggest thing there is the ADA study that we are doing. That increases expenditures by $250,000. That's a required by TDOT item, and we are using grant money to help pay for that. So that's the $200,000 in STBG grant money. Also, the Stevens Street project was a prior year project that got finished late last summer and rolled into this year. The Robert Matthews Highway Bridge is a project that we are rolling into the new fiscal year. And right-of-way and easement is an easement at Interstate Drive, and that is State Street Aid. Solid Waste Fund, we are requesting an increase in budget revenue by $117,877 and an increase in budgeted expenditures of $105,900. Most of the increase in revenue is the FEMA proceeds from the storm of $100,177, and the majority of the expenditures, $95,000, relates to repairs and maintenance and vehicles and equipment in that fund. The drug fund, an increase in budgeted revenue by $142,500 and an increase in expenditures of $37,500. The $130,000 in revenue is confiscated and fines, confiscated items and fines that gets awarded to the police department from the court system. And the investigative equipment is canine animals that we will be purchasing, 2 new ones to replace one that passed away and one that we purchased earlier this year. Animal Control Fund, increase in budgeted revenue of $1,239,500, an increase in budgeted expenditures of $39,500, and the bequest from the Miss Ayers is included in the donations there. And Economic Development Fund, an increase in budgeted revenues of $338,000, a decrease in budgeted expenditures of $63,700. The Stewart Cemetery Road Project is a project that we are rolling into fiscal year 19, and professional services relates to the retail strategies contract that we recently approved. And Highlands Business Park is where we're having to rebuild the roundabout, so that was some expenditures that we didn't originally budget for. Quality of Life Fund is an increase in budgeted revenue of $2,000 and a decrease in budgeted expenditures of $64,000. Under Parks and Recs, we had 2 projects at Cane Creek Park, the parking lot and dog park that we are rolling into fiscal year 19. And the demo and site cleanup was some prep work that Public Works had to do at the skate park site that was not part of the grant budget. And general obligation debt service, increase in budgeted revenue of $100,000 and increase in budgeted expenditures of $6,000. Just reclassing there, the bond principal and interest, that's on the new bonds that we did back in the fall. And the last fund, the General Improvement Bond Fund, increase in budgeted revenue of $42,326,000. When we sold the bonds back in the fall, we did get a premium on those, so $83,326 is the premium. State grant proceeds is a negative. They requested a refund on one of the grant payments that we got. They changed the calculation on how much we should have received, so we owe them back a refund. And then An increase in budgeted expenditures in this fund of $162,000. Bond issue cost on the new bonds that we did back in the fall of $12,000. And again, Cedar Street and Dogwood Park improvements are things that we're rolling into fiscal year 19. And then the Bennett Road Tennessee Avenue project has been a multiple fiscal year project, and more of that rolled into this year than what we had originally planned. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have, but that's the funds that we're amending, and I request your approval.
All right, this time we'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting. Does anyone want to speak to this matter? Okay. We'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion or questions from the council?
If I could.
Yes, Councilman Henry.
Brenda, what is it, in terms of the bottom line, the total dollar amount as far as all these, but the collective number for all the amendments?
I don't have the total for all the funds, but for the general fund, it's a net positive increase of $85,300. And then for each one of the funds, I've put a total there, but I'm sorry, I didn't add it up in total.
Did any of these numbers or projects come, larger ones particularly come as a surprise, some that we didn't anticipate, some we had no way to?
No.
They were all pretty much
Yes,
anticipated.
yes.
Okay.
Any other comments? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7B, consider resolution R 180507, authorizing the approval of the State of Tennessee Deferred Compensation Plan 2 401K resolution and participating employer agreement. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, this particular item on the agenda and the following item are very similar and related to one another, but a few years ago, the state of Tennessee opened up their retirement plan where local governments would be eligible to participate in the state's 401K deferred compensation plan. Currently, the city offers our city employees are covered by the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. That's a defined benefit plan. In addition to that, we offer a plan, it's a 457B plan. And originally what got this started is the state, when they made the change allowing cities or local governments to participate in their deferred compensation plan, we started looking at their 457B plan. And throughout that process, we learned we could also participate in their 401K. So we put together a committee, employees from all city departments. We asked them to participate in this process. They received presentations from TCRS along with the current administrator of our existing 457 plan. But at the end of the process, that committee unanimously recommended that we look to establish a new plan with TCRS and participate in the state's 401K. The particular plan, if we establish this, is very similar to our 457 plan. It's completely funded by the employees. The city does not match any of those contributions because we provide the defined benefit plan under TCRS. But it's just another way for employees to save for retirement. In addition, if we create this plan, it would establish one entity that our employees could talk to as they get closer to retirement. This particular process would allow employees to have access to a financial advisor who can see their TCRS retirement benefit, see their 401K plan, and if you approve this item and even the next item on the agenda, the 457B plan. So they would have access to one individual that could basically sit down and talk to them about retirement, about everything they have that would be available through the city of Cookeville. The fees are lower than our current administrative fees that we pay today, and that was another reason the employees wanted to look at moving to the state plan and establishing this additional plan through the state. Again, the employee committee and myself, we recommend approval, and I'll be happy to try to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion is second. Any comments or questions? Councilman Henry?
As I looked through this and studied it, and based on our discussion and work session, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things, but the reasons that this appears to be a very good idea is, as I understand it, our employees, and I'll just kind of walk through these, and you just, our employees will have more choices as it relates to their investment, a wider range of choices. They will have access to a financial advisor they can sit down one-on-one with and discuss those matters if they like. And, of course, there'd be a different administrator. Another administrator would would be handling that, and the fees would be lower. Is that essentially the advantages as compared to what we have now?
That's it exactly, that, especially the idea of having a financial advisor that they could speak to directly and look at their overall, the entire picture, everything, the portfolio that they have completely, their TCRS benefit, any deferred comp plan that they choose to participate in. That one individual can see it all, as opposed to now it's separated and they can't see all that information. Now, you mentioned more fund choices. The state's plan doesn't have as many fund choices that the employees can choose, but those funds have much lower fees, and that's one thing the employees like too. And again, it just gives the employees access to that person who can share with them that information and hopefully try to help them plan as they get closer to retirement.
Vice Mayor? Yes, sir.
Mike, just a quick question. I mean, it sounds great. I mean, this sounds absolutely just great for our employees, but it being a state program, and I know the state seems to be financially in a good position. Is that the liabilities on the state side? I mean, if they're going to be taking the lion's share of this, and we're going to be involved with that, are they? Is the state's finances solid enough that you feel comfortable with this?
Yes, the funds themselves are set aside with a trustee, so the state doesn't manage that.
Okay.
They oversee the plan, but there's a trustee that oversees and maintains those funds. Then you have a plan administrator who is the record keeper for all the employees and of their contributions and the earnings on their investments as
Yeah,
well.
I guess that's my question, is all the folks are going to be either management or administrating or whatever, the folks are going to be like taking care of these funds and monies of our employees.
Mhm.
I take it you feel very comfortable enough that you can recommend them to be able to do that. And the reason I even ask that is because there's just situations, you've heard of Orange County in California where they lost all the employees lost every bit of their money because of certain mismanagement. So I guess my question is,
The state of Tennessee is one of the highest, their retirement fund is
Right.
one of the highest ranked retirement funds in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I can't predict the future, but I have no reservations about making this recommendation and creating this particular plan, and then, again, the next item on the agenda, hopefully moving our existing plan to the state.
Any other comments? Walden.
I think we've got, is it 420 employees?
Roughly 420 or 30 employees, full-time
420, 30
employees.
employees. And I've watched it grow from 400 to 430. And they're very valued by the city council, I believe, and by the people in general in Cookeville. And we've got to do things to make sure that they enjoy the benefits of a rising economy. And I'm optimistic about the economy, and I think a deferred compensation plan would be very helpful in helping our employees to plan for the future, as one who's partially retired.
Well, we currently have a deferred comp plan. This would establish a second one and give the employees just an additional opportunity. They can participate in one, none, or both of them if they want to, both plans, and just give them an additional opportunity to save for retirement.
Very good. Any other comments? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
4C, consider Resolution R 180508, authorizing the approval of the Tennessee State Employees Deferred Compensation Plan and Trust 457B resolution and participating employer agreement. Mike Davidson.
Again, Mayor and Council, this is very similar to the previous item that you just considered, but the city does have a deferred comp plan. It's a 457B plan. It was established in 1988. We have right now, I think, 140 or so employees that are contributing to it today out of the 400, so we hope to increase that, and there'll be much more notice to the employees and try to get that information out to them, to try to get employees to begin to look to the future, because 30 years rolls around pretty quick. But again, we have the 457B. The committee is recommending that we transfer the assets in the existing plan that's managed by ICMA RC. we transfer that to the state of Tennessee's plan as well. Again, very similar benefits, access to the financial advisor, low fees, and again, I'll try to answer any questions that I can.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
7D, consider resolution R 180509, supporting Highlands Residential Services negotiating an agreement and accepting payment in lieu of ad valorem tax with respect to Walnut Village Apartments, previously set on February 6, 1979. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, as you mentioned, and in your package, you have a letter from Highlands Residential Services, and they are requesting that the city continue the agreement that we have today with Walnut Village. Back in 1978 and 79, Walnut Village was constructed, and the city agreed to accept payment in lieu of taxes equal to $4,413.60. Walnut Village is looking to be renovated and updated, and in order to accomplish that, Highlands Residential Services in Walnut Village is asking us to continue to accept that same $4,413.60. That's been in place since 1978. This particular resolution would continue that for 25 years, and then after that point, we would look to have a one-year renewals for an additional 15 years, and then during those renewal periods, those one-year renewal periods, either party could amend the agreement if we wanted to. But I've met with representatives from Highlands Residential Services. Mr. Jones is here as well, serves on that board. And I would recommend and ask you to continue that agreement. And I'm not sure what else to add. Jeff may have a few things.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'll be happy to address the council, or I'll be happy to answer any questions, but I think Mr. Davidson's done a good job of stating where we are right now.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Any questions for Councilman Henry? Yes.
Briefly on and I won't elaborate long here, but briefly on a very personal level, Jeff, and I say that to everyone here, Dow, Chris, Jeff, Jim Martin. I appreciate so much the good work you do in this community. The address that I left when I moved to Cookeville was apartment 11, Clem Jones Heights, Athens, Tennessee, which was public housing. And I know you recognize that there's a lot of young men and women with potential inside those units. And I especially appreciate all the programs you have as far as young people and teenagers and all that you're doing as it relates to the quality of the development you're putting together now. And just on a personal level, as well as a council member, I just want you to know how much I appreciate the effort that you put into this and the service that you provide for the citizens of Cookeville. Thank you very much.
Councilman Henry, appreciate your kind words. I think it's the foresight of previous councils, the reason that we're here tonight and the reason that we do what we do. And we appreciate you guys, and we appreciate your consideration of this resolution.
Jeff, could
Councilman
you
Wallen.
say what you're considering doing, with the proceeds? Because I think that's important for the public to know.
Sure. And I know you guys have got a long agenda, so I don't want to be too long-winded up here. But briefly, the Housing Authority, Highlands Residential Services is formerly known as the Cookeville Housing Authority, City Chartered Housing Authority. And right now, the Housing Authority is undertaking two major projects. One project is to replace the 52 units that were recently demolished on the corners of Jackson and Willow Avenues. The other project is to renovate Walnut Village, which is dedicated to senior housing. As Mr. Davidson said, it's been there since 1979, so we're 40 years out. It's time for some renovation. What the deal is that both of these projects together to double down and do this is going to be around $11 million. And so we are looking at grant money, we're looking at reserve money, we're doing tax credits, we're trying to find all sorts of sources of revenue to make both of these projects happen to better serve financially disadvantaged people in our city, and also to be better for the city of Cookeville too. We know what the developments at the corner of Jackson and Willow looked like prior to their destruction, and we want to have units that have more curb appeal, that don't look like public housing. That's the goal. And also renovate Walnut Village at the same time. Well, as I said, we're looking at all sorts of sources of revenue to do this. Well, the flip side of it is that we're trying to hold expenses, keep those at the status quo. And this is what this resolution with the City of Cookeville does. Since 1979, there has been a payment in lieu of tax agreement between the city of Cookeville and Walnut Village, where Walnut Village pays property tax in the amount of $55.12 per unit. There are, I think, 80 units at Walnut Village, if I remember correctly. And so by keeping our pilot agreement for 25 years and then these 15-year one-year renewals, it's going to hold our property expenses down. And it's, like I said, we're at a position right now where every penny counts. And the graciousness of the city of Cookeville and this council in approving this resolution is going to go a long way to helping us get there, because, quite frankly, all the pieces of these puzzles have to come into place, and if they don't, we can't cash flow these two projects. So this is why we're here before you tonight.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Mr.
Vice
Mayor,
Mayor,
I have
yes.
a comment. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, and I want to say just a couple things. One's just after we met in a work session, how impressed I am that you get that the Highlands Residential is watching every penny. Okay, it just means you're being being very good stewards of public monies. And I really appreciate that, because sometimes that just doesn't seem to happen very often. So I really appreciate the stewardship that your committee has done in regards to this and taking care of some of our folks that are more disadvantaged. And the other thing is, I just want to, this is a personal story, a little bit on the vein of Councilman Henry, is that when I came here 32 years ago, I had lived in a couple big cities and had lived very close to public housing, which was rife with crime and just not good stuff going on. And I said, I just want to I wanted my future partner said, take me by the public housing in Cookeville. And they did. And I'm like going, dang, this is nice. This is a lot nicer than where I'm living at right now. And that impressed me a long time ago. And you guys have continued to impress me. So I really appreciate what you've done as a public official, soon to finish my term, and as on a personal note.
Well, thank you, Councilman Epps. I appreciate you saying my committee, but the truth is I've represented the Housing Authority for a number of years. It's these people back here in the back of the room that are the good stewards of the public's money and the trust. So we appreciate that.
Any other comments? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7A, consider approval of emergency repair of HVAC at the police department, and hopefully here at City Hall. Boy, it's hot in here.
Mayor and council, as you may recall from
Lord have mercy, it's hot.
Mayor and council, as you may recall from work session on Monday, the main HVAC unit in the police department failed. The maintenance team worked tirelessly to try to service that unit, and to no avail. So that unit is unserviceable at this time. It should be noted that unit has been there since 1979, so I think it's due some renovation as well. We contacted Carlisle, and they agreed that the unit was unserviceable. They have a replacement unit that we're recommending, which is a 7.5-ton split HVAC system. The cost of that unit, to include installation, thermostat, recovery of all the refrigerant lines and all the assorted activity that goes with that replacement, is $14,400, and I'd recommend your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
Chief, what are you doing in the meantime right now?
We brought in, Carlisle brought in a temporary unit.
Oh, okay.
Of course, as you know, that building has zero ventilation.
Yeah.
Because there's no windows. So we've got some fans. There are some smaller units in some areas. We've got some doors open up. So I guess in a word, we're surviving.
And just as a segue, and we're going to be, hopefully, this council will be approving a number of items that will address this. But before my term ends, I certainly hope that our new police station is going to be put together that it will absolutely get done, so you guys don't have to deal with this sort of stuff anymore. I think it's, sometimes I feel very badly that our public safety officials have to deal with stuff like this.
Any other comments? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7F, consider awarding bid for one utility vehicle for the Leisure Services Department. Mr. Woods.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and council members, we advertised and received bids for a utility vehicle for our department maintenance division, primarily to be used on trails and trail cleaning and trail maintenance. We received 2 bids, and we're recommending Mid-State Motorsports as the lowest bid. We are recommending we purchase it with the option, which is a front roller brush that we can sweep with. So I would recommend your approval.
Very good. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
7G, consider awarding bid for East Cookeville Substation Power Transformer Installation Project. Tony Peak.
Mayor and council, we solicited bids for a substation contractor. This is relative to our 2 power transformers we ordered about 8 or 9 months ago that'll be coming in, one in July, one in August. And we needed a contractor to prepare the grounds, the pads, and those kind of things for that operation. Groves Construction was a low bidder at $457,100, and I'd recommend your approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second. All right, any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
7H, consider, I'm delirious with the heat. If 7H, consider awarding bid for wastewater treatment plant effluent screen replacement. Ronnie Kelly.
Mayor and council, we solicited bids also on replacement of the influence screens at our wastewater treatment plant. They're getting close to 25 years old. Southern Constructors Incorporated was a low bidder meeting spec of $997,000 and would recommend low bidder meeting specs.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4
I had a
yes
couple
votes, motion
pictures for
carries.
you. I forgot those. That was just the screens.
7I, consider awarding bids for cleaning services, water quality control and public works department. Ronnie Kelly.
Mayor and council, we also solicited bids collectively with the Public Works for both our facilities. Chano and Sons were the low bidder meeting specs, $1,145 a month for the water quality control, and $1,095 for Public Works. This is a reduction of about $2,000 a year on our current bids, and so we would recommend approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Motion
Second.
is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
7J, consider authorizing final payment of invoice for transformer replacement at the water plant. Sole source provider, Mr. Kelly.
Yes, Mayor, back in February 15th of the City Council, you guys, I presented a quote for a sole source provider on a transformer and inductor at a water treatment plant facility. Council approved my recommendation of $21,494 quote, and we ordered the unit. Taking it out, we had to take it apart, two parts. During the manufacturing process and after discussion with our electrical contractor, we contacted the manufacturer and instructed them to assemble it on site and ship it to us constructed instead of 2 pieces. After talking to our electrical contractor, they were a little leery about putting it back together and was worried about that if they made some kind of mistake, we might cause damage to that transformer. So we instructed the manufacturer to put the unit together before they ship it, and it'll cover the warranty. We have now received that invoice. The final invoice is $25,694, which is $4,200, $2,000 being the assembly and $22,000 being the shipping, above council's prior authorization. And I'd recommend paying this final invoice.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4
We
yes
will
votes, motion
have one more part to this coming next council meeting. It's another piece of the controller that we shipped off, and we've now gotten an invoice on it. So once that gets, it's shipped back, so I've got to get that approved also. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our agenda portion. We have time at the end if anybody would like to speak on non-agenda items. Do we have anyone that would like to address the council? All right, council members, we have any? Yes, sir, Councilman Wallman?
I'd like to bring up the fact that two people very vital to our city have passed away in the last few days. One is Joan Tansel, and the other is Ted Hazelton. Mr. Hazelton is less known than Vice Mayor Tansel in that he had the concept for an amphitheater at Dogwood Park back in 1998-99 and worked with Dr. Glasgow and myself to kind of get that going. And so he had the concept. It turned out a little different than what he wanted, but he brought the idea up and everybody ran and jumped with it. Now, Joan Tansel, I think Dwight can probably speak to her better than me since he worked with her when he was mayor on the city council back in the 80s.
Thank you, Councilman Mayor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I did have the opportunity, the pleasure to serve with Joan from 1985 to 1988, and I was just really inspired by her love of this community. She, regardless of the issue at hand, really worked hard to find in her heart and mind always the right thing to do. She's a special person to a lot of people, had been in a lot of community activities before she ran for council, very active in her church at First Methodist, and she was a true public servant, great mom, and I just wish her complete peace and rest and eternity in heaven.
Yes, sir. Any other comments? All right, we're adjourned.